I get my link? I think it's just this, right? Twitch TV/Metacoin.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna copy it. Cool. That should work.
What is this?
It's our chat. Davi just joined, I think. Yeah.
Davi, welcome. We just started.
What's up, Davi?
Hello.
Hey, we're live on Twitch, by the way.
How's it going, folks?
Good.
Good.
What up?
We're live on Twitch right now. So.
Wow.
Join in. Should be working. Let's see if it's working. I'm gonna have to mute it. Oh, it's muted already. Oh yeah, there's stream chat, so I should probably be paying attention to this, huh?
So, yeah, I hope another storm coming up. So we'll see.
There's a storm. Oh, you might get disconnected. You mean?
Joey, are you planning on talking about
hurricane?
the fourth like stuff that you were working on?
I was thinking about it if we have time.
Okay.
I might not do it. There's a way to pop out chat, right? I should be able to pop out chat. I thought there was a way that I can make this into its own. Actually, is it in the stream manager? Dude, I have no idea how this works.
I think you just pull it and drag it. That's what I remember.
Oh, here it is. Chat. This is weird. I liked it when it was its own window. Here we go. Pop out. Alright, perfect. Good. So I'm going to move this chat over to screen 5, and that's screen 4. Cool. So we got stream chat here. We've got our... Perfect. Alright, so let's get going. Let's kind of do introductions. I'm Joey. I'm the lead developer of Flow. I'm joined here with Bradley Fink, Davi, Martin, and Channing. And we're here to talk about what's going on in Flow, the latest updates and news, and just stuff that we think is interesting, and we want to update the community on everything that's involved with all the projects that we're working on. So I'll let you guys do intros, and we can get started.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I'll start. I'm Martin. I guess I've been with the Flow community for about 2 years now. Yeah, glad to be here.
I'm Bradley Fink. I'm kind of a Flow OG from 2017, and I've just been doing what I can since then to help the projects in the community build and evolve.
I'm Channing. I am a moderator in the Flow community and a big fan of everything that we're doing here to try to bring information to everyone on an equal basis.
Davi, you there?
Might be in a hurricane.
Yeah, looks like he's muted.
Davi's incapacitated by a cyclone, so we're just gonna get started here.
Did we get everyone?
Yeah,
There he
man,
is.
you're up.
Working with Flow for a while now. So,
Sounds good. All right, I stopped sharing because my computer was lagging, but should be good to go. Perfect. All right, so just to get started, welcome everybody. Let's talk about what's going on in Flow. So if you didn't know about Flow, Flow is a cryptocurrency that's just about 7 years old. Actually, 7 years and I think 3 days old at this point. And the purpose of Flow, behind Flow, is to have metadata stored on the blockchain. And over the last 7 years, what we've done is we've built a protocol called the Open Index Protocol that lives on top of that metadata, and it allows people to build applications that make use of a networked metadata index. And that sounds like a lot of jargon, but basically if you create content on the web, if you create digital content, you're able to index that content, take all the interesting stuff about it, and put it into this repository, which is a neutral repository. So if you think about Google, it's a centralized repository of all the information and stuff that's going on, and they own their index. They own all the connections and data that has to do with all the web pages on the web. But if we can make that open for everybody and provide a tool for everybody to use a neutral third party as the index, it's interesting in terms of the implications for privacy, security, and self-sovereignty. So what we're doing with that is we're building a number of apps. Some of them are live right now. One of them is Caltech's ETDB, which Davi has taken over and created. Another one is through Medici Land Governance and an Overstock subsidiary. We've done land rights property records in Wyoming, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. The first thing I wanted to mention is that we've started a new company called Streambed, and Streambed is essentially a dashboard for content creators to put their content onto OIP. And they can connect to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it might be, and they can go ahead and launch their content, deliver their content to the world. But on the back end, everything goes through the blockchain and is verified by the blockchain. So this is this website for Streambed. You can go through it real quick and take a look at it. This is co-founded with Michael Casey and Jenna Pilgrim, Michael being one of the directors at CoinDesk. So this is a project that we've been kind of getting into and making part of the Flow family for quite some time, and it seems to be coming together really quickly. I think we do have a video. Maybe we can watch it. What is Streambed?
Streambed is a publishing tool and analytics engine that helps bring audiences together. Our platform is for anyone and everyone who creates content. From your favorite mom and pop brands to large corporations, to influencers and to media organizations. We are driven by reputation and the fight for facts, and believe that your engagement is more important than your follower count. We are here for you, the army of creators making content to stand out in an ever-crowded online world. Streambed enables you to link co-creators, brands, and talent on a video-by-video basis, doing away with screenshots of traffic data for good. The platform notifies linked co-creators and brands, enabling them to repost content to their own accounts, streaming the analytics back to Streambed for everyone to see on their custom dashboards. Here's how it works. Let's say you collaborate with your favorite shoe brand and post a 2-minute video to YouTube. You tag the brand, your video producer, and your co-star so they can see the video's performance in real time. Each one gets a note telling them about the video and encouraging them to repost on their social media, linking the videos and their data back to all members of the team. You can even make it so that anyone can repost. People want to create and they want to do the right thing. Streambed shows us that when we work together, we all do better. Start linking today.
Cool. So that's all about Streambed. This is just a project that we kind of been working on for some time. We're likely going to be announcing a beta test pretty soon. And yeah, that's built on Flow. So let's move on, talk a little bit about, this is actually Channing's tweet, about Medici Land Governance and how they're moving into Carbon County. So we already have Teton County land rights records that are stored on the Flow blockchain, and now we're going to be moving into Carbon County. So Channing provided us with this link to Business Wire, where basically Medici Land Governance is to develop a blockchain-based land records and information platform in Carbon County. So if you guys want to follow along with this link, I'll probably put it in the chat. Actually, let's do that now. Get used to this Twitch TV thing. Oh yeah, I popped it out. Throw it in here. Cool. But yeah, so last year MLG completed a project with Teton County, and this year they're planning to expand to Carbon County. So it's just a matter of time until this little flow symbol encompasses the entire United States and probably the entire world. Thanks, Channing, for this tweet, by the way. It's really great.
I like it.
They
You got
actually
it,
also
man.
have some pilot programs in other countries like Mexico and Zimbabwe, I believe.
Yeah. So we have.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say that I was going to ask you, what is it that you think that makes Flow like so useful in this application that MLG is doing? I mean, because if people don't know that Flow has a feature where you can just load about a kilobyte worth of arbitrary data into the blockchain itself, and MLG has built out a process whereby they can back up all of the deed room in Teton and now Carbon County onto the blockchain. And if that deed room were to burn down or anything to happen, all that data would be backed up and it's safe and it's distributed into the blockchain. But on top of that, what I love about this is that it adds increased functionality. There's a map system out there that Medici has provided, which is somewhere in one of my tweets if you want to go back and find it, that allows you to overlay all the blockchain data over essentially a Google map, and you can find historical data such as like at one point I was playing around with it and I was overlaying historic wildfires over the Teton County and able to see just what some really interesting insights into the property and records just visually. And then if you click on any one of the properties, it will take you into a really detailed record. I mean, you get into where you have dimensions of people's bedrooms and whatnot if they want to load that into the data. And it's exciting to see the possibilities of how granular the data can get, and it could be open for anyone to look. If you've ever tried to find your deed at your online for your local deed room, it can be a big challenge. It's hard to get that data, and the ease of use for the Medici system is just very impressive.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through and find. I know that it's like Greenwood Map or something like that. I'm looking for the link.
You know what?
Yeah.
I have it from Chris. Give me a second. I'll find it and send it to you.
I know that I have.
Yeah, and we'll get it to you, and I'll make sure I'll repost it here in a second.
But to answer your question, I think that the reason that that Flow is interesting for this use case, and you can kind of look at, if you remember a long time ago, there was that recommendation letter that Patrick Byrne wrote for Wyoming County on behalf of Alexandria that had mentioned that the blockchain technology that we have makes the most sense here. And really what it's about is cutting down on corruption and giving people true ownership of their land by giving that digital signature and putting it into the neutral third party. So that's really what this is about. It's about using a blockchain system, an open system, for verifying records that are in the public domain. And I think if you guys want to read more about that, we can put a link to Chris's Teton County from July 17th, 2019, where he goes into all of the details about why. And yeah, brief answer is proof of existence, right? We want to prove that something exists. We want it to be in a public record. Everything has to be, it has to be transparent and efficient. So, I mean, there's nothing more transparent than a blockchain, right? It's a database that's replicated over and over and over between hundreds or thousands of nodes, depending on the chain. And that's kind of like the paragon for transparency in the tech world. So yeah, there's a vision at MLG for building a robust titling system. And that robust titling system, the backbone is on top of OIP and Flow. So yeah, hopefully that's going to expand even farther than it has expanded today. and we can see that map grow and grow and grow. So let's talk a little bit about what Chris is up to, since he wrote that blog post. He's also going to be on the impact of blockchain technologies on land rights registry systems, which is an event next week. It's actually on the 25th, which I believe is on Thursday, next Thursday. So if you guys want to tune into that, you can join in, ask some questions. You can register here. I'm going to put a link to this tweet also in the chat.
So I sent you the link for the Greenwood map.
Oh, is it on Telegram?
Yep.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's pretty impressive. Like, it has all like the land boundaries and like the zoning. It's quite detailed.
Right. This is well, there's a map. There's an actual map, right? Where if you wanted to view the polygons on an overlaid sort of like Google map, there's a way to do that, right? Oh,
Yeah, I forgot how to get there though.
Yeah. So this is it. So here, for example, is
There's a thing there called Mepit. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I found it.
Yep.
So, like, for example, this record was recorded. I gotta mute somebody. Somebody's giving me feedback. Might be Channing. Let's see. Sorry, Channing. Yeah, so for each of these records, there's a little button that says Map It. So you can actually see this is a parcel of land that does indeed exist in Wyoming. You can probably zoom out and see the entire world at some point, but it's going to take a little while to load. But either way, like, this is an actual parcel of land with the polygon that you can see drawn in somewhere in Teton County, right? And you can actually identify that piece of land. And then going back to that, you can look at the blockchain record, which it'll bring up, show the blockchain proof. And then here's the PDF hash. So there's a PDF that's hashed in the chain, and you can view the full transaction on Medici's Block Explorer. Oh, I think this is their new Block Explorer. That's pretty cool. Let's see if it loads. I know that this is kind of an experimental thing, so I'm not sure if it's going to actually load. But either way, we can get the transaction ID. I'm not sure if this is going to load, but we can go to the Block Explorer and pull up this record. This is cool. This is going to be great when it's live. But yeah, one of the great things about blockchain indeed is the transaction hashes and the fact that you could use any number of Block Explorers to view them. So if one is down or not working, you just go to a different one and pull up the data. Here it is. This is from June 4th, 2019, so this is over a year ago. And pretty much has the proof of existence of this data, which is a hashed PDF that contains the land. So if you went and downloaded this PDF, it doesn't look like it's going to view in the browser, and hashed it, you would get this hash. And then you can see that that hash is part of this record in the blockchain. So, long story short, that parcel of land that we saw on the map is proven to be owned by that by these grantees through this record, which is proven in the blockchain through proof of existence. So Chris will probably be talking about this during that virtual roundtable on June 25th. That's pretty cool. There he is, listed here among some of the others who are going to be speaking about this. You guys should all join Chris. It's going to be great. Cool. Moving on. Devin and Amy at Alexandria have been talking a lot about this "What Kind of Internet Do You Want" series, and it's pretty great. In this episode, they actually interviewed Dr. Robert Epstein, who testified to Congress on behalf of, I believe it was a case involving Google and privacy rights. Channing, do you know more about this?
Yes, he's an academic and I believe a psychologist, and if you listen to the video that Amy posted in her "What Kind of Internet Do You Want" series, they go through and they get pretty in the weeds as to the different ways that Google uses the index to influence through the curation of search results and just how the algorithm itself kind of drives our behavior as the way that we filter information, and the risks that presents of having one company control all of that, and for the public to not be able to see it. And Dr. Epstein is one of the leading experts in this field. He's been looking into the Google's search algorithm and its effects on us for a long time. So it's definitely worth a listen if you're interested in the power of information and privacy going forward.
Yeah, super important. I'm actually gonna post a link onto the Twitch chat. Let's see. I'll post it into the Telegram chat. So there was a discussion about this on Google recently. Let's bring it up real quick. So yeah, there was a question on Twitter from a Twitter user who was working on a website, and he said basically, I have a crawling related problem with one of the websites in WordPress. My website is indexed in Bing, but not in Google. And someone from Google actually responded to this tweet. I believe this is the Webmaster Trends analyst at Google, and he said, we don't share indexing with other search engines. So I'd ask in this is like a web forum with your specific case. So in case it wasn't obvious, Google and Bing do not share their indexes. So having a private index has a lot of implications about how your content can get found on the web. And there were some comments about how, if you can make it to Google, you can make it anywhere, but not the other way around. And that basically means, Google really owns the index, and having Google own that index is a really serious issue when it comes to privacy. So Dr. Epstein talked about that a little bit with Amy, and I'll put this link also in the chat for you guys to watch. And actually, I'll include it with the playlist, because some of these videos are also really good and interesting for people to check out. The next thing that we wanted to talk about is building a blockchain publishing MVP on the Open Index protocol. So this is from Albawaba, which is, I believe, a news institution in the UAE, right?
Yeah, right in Dubai.
Cool.
Well, I think that they operate in Dubai, but they have headquarters something like Kuwait, something like that.
Cool. Yeah, TrueDev, you know a little bit more about this. Do you want to give a little background here?
Yeah, so from my understanding, they, I guess they released an MVP showing the interface between OIP and their sort of journaling side of the thing. So yeah, I mean, from what I understand, they basically they take an article, they copy the important parts, and they put it into the OIP version of that article. Everything's saved in that little metadata field and reference to. Something cool they added too, which I actually really liked. They have a tip function so that under each article, if someone's like interested in like contributing to the person who wrote that, they can just click a button, and with their address already like preloaded in some way, you can send like a like small amount to that, to that person. So it's almost like you're funding people's work directly without any sort of like an intermediary, like checkpoint.
Very cool. So I was going to go ahead and play this video. It's kind of like an explainer on exactly what they're doing.
Hi, so this is a late night recording with myself and Anwar. We're both ex-Project Pen, so Anwar used to be former developer.
Yeah, I do remember
of
they also
Pen.
talked
He's
a little
come
bit.
a long way since then. We're both in
that.
Dubai. And we've been working on a blockchain publishing project for the past 13 weeks. So basically since the beginning of the lockdown here in Dubai. It's an MVP that we built using something called the Open Index Protocol, which was developed by a team in the United States called Alexandria Labs. So special mention to Amy, Devin, and Bits for all the help. Just a bit of background as to why we're doing this. The idea for blockchain, which is usually known as the technology that powers the Bitcoin, or crypto payments, is the idea for a decentralized, trustless financial system. What I want as a digital publisher, and what the company I work for is interested in as well, is applying some of those precepts to publishing. So how can we create decentralized, trustless networks in which creators can host their content and have smart contracts and micropayments and reasonable commission rates? And how can publishers create new platforms that incentivize that kind of thing too? So yeah, without further ado, what are we looking at right now, Anwar?
So we're looking at some content that has been hosted on IPFS, and all the addresses have been gathered from Open Index Protocol. The system itself is a basic Drupal system because most publishers are used to using Drupal. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at right now.
So basically, because one of the big problems we had was, publishing to the blockchain is one thing, but creating a CMS that allows you to create an article and then automate that through IPFS and other systems to actually publish that on a chain is quite difficult. So one of the things you've done is basically integrated the Open Index Protocol with Drupal, right?
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. And we've got Arabic. Quite happy about that. All right, so maybe the best thing to do is to show people kind of how it works, I guess. Should we try and publish an article?
Yes, definitely. So we can actually publish an article as we usually do in the CMS. So here I've got one of your articles. So we can, the internet just called it once it created us back. So we can actually copy this link, this title, and we can copy some of the text, for example. We need an image, so I think I have saved this image earlier. Oops, sorry. And we just save. And what's going on in the background right now is that Drupal is communicating with IPFS in order to tell IPFS to host the image and the text that we have just pasted. And then Drupal will get the address of where IPFS have hosted these piece of information. And then it will send it to Open Index Protocol and tell it, here are the addresses. Please, when somebody asks for this piece of information, let them have these addresses, and then they can visit it to get the information. And this is what happens when we actually view the piece of content that we have just saved. It will take some time for it to be published because the transaction has not went through yet.
And so basically, it's sending it over to the blockchain, and then it's calling it back.
Yes, exactly.
Really bad way of putting it. All right.
Well, what happened is that actually I do not have my blockchain open, or not blockchain, but my wallet.
Right.
So that's why the transaction did not go through.
Yeah, and we can, so this transaction wouldn't, because it didn't go through and we haven't got a transaction ID issued, it won't actually appear on the blockchain, right?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So the idea is that we're just creating a normal transaction in Flow. Mm-hmm. So we're sending Flow between two accounts. And since Flow as a coin or as a cryptocurrency can contain a certain amount of data, we are sending all the data that we created from the article, we're sending that through the transaction that we just made.
Okay.
So here it's just synchronizing with the network.
That's pretty cool. So basically, I mean, it would take, I don't think the transaction's gone through, but normally that would take a couple of minutes anyway. What about on the landing page we have, where we've got the pre-published blockchain articles? Oh, are you reposting this?
I'm just trying to.
So basically, these are examples, right? I haven't seen the
Yes,
Arabic
these are
one.
just examples.
Okay, so
yeah, this is the Arabic one.
so basically, you know, when it all works, it sends it to the blockchain. What is IPFS? Just for background, how do we describe that to people who don't understand?
Okay, so IPFS is a system where files are hosted, but they're not centralized. So they're not hosted on a single server or cluster of servers. It's hosted on peer network. So my computer hosts some of this data, your computer hosts some of this data, and it hosts also copies of this data. So when an item goes into the network, it is hosted on multiple devices for normal users and not servers, and therefore it's pretty difficult to delete any of those files because they are hosted on, I can say, millions of devices.
Yeah, I mean,
at the same time.
Yeah, so IPFS, you can't see it, but it's actually a pretty big deal. Like this Arabic article we have in front of us, I don't know, this is probably one of the few, you know, direct from CMS, be it Drupal or any other CMS, to the blockchain published articles. Yeah. There are definitely in the Middle East, but what's cool about this is publishing through IPFS is you have two differences, really. The first is that the content is immutable. So that means if you publish on other internet platforms, it's easy to edit that content, take it down, play with it, even lose it. You know, in 20 years' time, a lot of the content that's on the internet right now will be disappeared. That's much more difficult, if not impossible, on the blockchain. The second point is, so it's closer to paper in a way, or, you know, physical books that are harder to destroy in a way than intangible content. The second thing that's very cool is that it's harder for kind of publishers in particular, or anyone, you know, any kind of platform or any kind of publisher, to remove that content. You know, so in 5 years' time, let's say someone's published an unpopular opinion, or, you know, the politics has changed. On the blockchain, it's much more difficult to censor and edit or remove uncomfortable content. Some people might not like that, and other people might think, you know, that's great. But in essence, it's a completely different way of storing content and indexing content. So, you know, that doesn't always appear on the front end, but behind the article, the way the information is structured is completely different. And that is why, do we have a transaction ID on this one?
Yes, this is the transaction ID.
So what is that?
So this is when we saved this content on Drupal, what happened is that we sent a certain amount of flows. In this case is 0.001 flows from one account, from this account to this account. And what happened is, while we're sending this amount of flows, we sent data here. This data contains addresses and hashes that tells the website or any other website where to find the text and the image and the title and the author details of the creator or of the author of this article here. So all these details, you know, so the image is actually saved in one place and the text is saved in another place, and the author details are saved in the third place, and all of that is saved on IPFS, but they're not saved together. Each piece of information is saved on its own. And this,
you're bringing it all together, right?
And OIP is bringing it all together. So this flow data is telling OIP how to bring all this data together.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. Do you want to explain, is your wallet ready? Do you want to explain tipping?
Definitely. So tipping is, as you mentioned, one of the reasons we're doing this is for authors or content creators to get better commission rates and better deals, basically. So you are, as an author of this article, I like this article, so I would like to support you more. So I can actually go ahead and tip the author. Once I click that, what happens in the background is we are generating another flow transaction that has, in this case, has a predefined amount to send to the author himself, so the author can get some support from his fans or supporters. And what is going on right now is we're trying to hash and authenticate the transaction in order for it to actually happen. And what it's doing is it's taking some flows, or as you can see, it's taking some flows from my wallet and sending it to the author's wallet directly without the need of any intermediate banks or credit card payment gateways. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically crypto tipping.
Yes. So this is a micro transaction that has been sent from my account to your account.
And it was just like that. It was that quick.
Yes.
Wow. Great. So is there anything else we need to show? Don't think so.
Maybe we can show, I can show you, like if I go and edit this piece of content, you will see that the body area is empty and there are actually no content here. There's only a transaction ID, which is the transaction that we just viewed. But the content is still showing here because all of this is coming from OIP and IPFS.
Right, and I'm sure for publishers who use CMS, that's super confusing. But it shows again, how the new way the content is being stored. So yeah, this is the MVP, and to summarize, we've connected the Open Index protocol through Drupal to the blockchain. We found a way to publish articles and images, and we've set up a basic micropayments tipping function. So
cool. I've never watched that video before, but that's awesome. I didn't realize that they integrated tipping into their app. Very nice. So yeah, these guys have created a Drupal plugin. Drupal's a PHP backend system that's used a lot in blogging. And they've integrated OIP in that. And they've also integrated a tipping system for their authors, so the authors can get tipped in Flow. That's really great. And John really killed it with the explanation there. He said it's very difficult to censor these transactions. It's very difficult to remove that stuff from the internet and from the Flow network. So if someone's opinion gets changed, or it doesn't quite match the politics year after year, no one is going to be able to go back and edit any of this stuff without being noticed, because there is that proof of existence. Again, this is a big proof of existence thing of the original article that existed in the way that it did originally. So very cool. Thanks for bringing this up with us, TrueDev. That's really awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Someone in the chat said the blockchain is a store of value. Yeah, I like the double entendre there. That actually makes a lot of sense, right? You're storing value, and information does have value. So I think that's kind of like the core concept of Flow here. Maybe I'm going to start using this line. I like it. The fees are the price for consuming some space on the chain. There was a really good conversation that Vitalik had with Peter. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but basically someone that's very... Oh man, this guy tweets a lot. How am I going to find this? Here it is. So Peter Zilagi, I don't know how to pronounce this, but he's been in the Ethereum community from the very beginning. He actually wrote something called Iris, which was a decentralized computing platform, and I had looked up Iris and communicated with Peter before Ethereum even existed. So it's no surprise that he joined Ethereum, because he was kind of doing decentralized computing before ETH even existed. I don't know why I'm not following him. But there is a controversy over whether or not to increase the block gas limit in Ethereum. And some people are talking about the trade-offs between the price for consuming space on the chain and the price for calculating the current value. And a lot of this thread is about how the miners that exist right now are only doing it because they have like an immediate gain that they can capture from mining and getting fees. Whereas, adding storage to the chain and adding the burden of kind of having to have this exponential growth of data as blocks get bigger, and as long-term storage becomes kind of like the more expensive part of mining, there is definitely like a conflict between those two, like the present value of the chain versus the future cost of storing all that data. And yeah, I'm gonna put this in here for you to check out, because I think you'd be interested in that. One cannot exist without the other. Yeah, definitely true. The question is, how much do we want to pay for that, right? And how much are the miners going to charge for each of those services? It's a bit tough. It's not like a scientific thing, right? You have to speculate a bit on what the future cost of holding all that data will be. And you also have to speculate on whether or not the block size or the gas limit increases for Ethereum. For us, it would be the block size, right? If the block size gets bigger, then the miners are going to have to store more stuff in the future. So are they going to spend more money on hard drives or mining equipment if they think the price is going to go up? Or do they think it's going to be profitable? So yeah, there's a lot of speculation going on here. And it seems to be pretty controversial, especially in Ethereum, where that storage is really valuable. Yeah, forks, definitely true. By the way, we're supposed to be giving away Flow, Defecator23. If you have a Flow address, looks like you're the only one that's been chatting. You can earn some Flow. So paste your address, we'll send you 100 Flow. Let's see. I think that's it. I think we're going to jump into Decentraland now. Bradley, if you're still around, do you want to... I don't know if anyone left during that presentation.
Oh, cool. Bradley actually just left.
Did he?
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh, he heard me.
I keep hitting buttons. Sorry, I keep hitting buttons by accident.
No, it's fine. Oh, Defecator23, you win 100 Flow.
I was just looking up Albawaba, and if I'm pronouncing it correctly, they are, well, they call themselves, they're big. They're based in, I think they're based in Amman, Jordan, and then they have an office in Dubai. But they call themselves like the largest aggregator and distributor of press releases and corporate information in the Middle East. So they're actually a really big media outlet.
Cool. Yeah, well, they're publishing onto OIP, so hopefully that goes live soon. And if you guys want to check out that blog post, let's see. I didn't actually post it in chat. Here you guys go. No problem, Defecator23. Hope this helps. If anyone else is in chat and wants to earn 100 Flow, just start chatting, and maybe you can get some in 10 minutes from now. So yeah, Bradley, do you want to go a bit into Timbuktu and tell us what's going on here?
I'm actually only seeing your avatar in this chat. Are you showing
I'm
Decentraland?
I'm streaming on Twitch, so I can. You're gonna have to look at the Twitch chat. Do you have the link?
I'll just go by what I know because I built it. So
okay.
I'm aware of what you're looking at. This is nothing official from Alexandria. I'm part of the community, so you can call it a community-led thing. And we're still unaware whether Alexandria is going to want to proceed with it as part of their Alexandria project. But I decided to build a 3D virtual proof of concept library that the Flow, Alexandria is one of the biggest projects that the Flow community has been looking forward to. So I created a 3D visual of what a library would be in a 3D metaverse that the community can use, and we can start posting some content into, and hopefully later down the road, giving people the opportunities to monetize their own content and continue towards our vision of decentralizing media.
Cool. Yeah, and I did talk with Devin, and he told us that it's cool to show this. So I'm walking around Decentraland right now. If you guys don't know, Decentraland is kind of a 3D. It's like a 3D game, a 3D world where it's a virtual reality, and you can hop in and build your own world. And if you look at this parcel from the Decentraland.org site, this is the parcel of land that Bradley owns. So there's like a huge map and area that's kind of like owned by nobody, or well, it's owned by Decentraland to begin with, and they sell off little plots of land. And Bradley owns this plot of land, and you can build whatever you want on the land. You can import polygons, you can import graphics. So here we have the Alexandria Decentralized Library. So let me walk into the first room, the first wing of the library here. Let's see what we've got going on. So here's the
In
opening of this
Decentraland.
article. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can play that video, and you can upload videos into there, and hopefully in the future, users can upload their own videos and monetize them. But there's a really strong community of builders, developers, and people fighting for a decentralized future in Decentraland. And actually, when I built this, the developers of Decentraland got really excited and said something like this would be great in their project, and they'd like to collaborate if we can go forward with it.
Great. Let's see what we've got going on here. Let's play the video. How does this work?
Alexandria is
wow,
independent
that's
and permissionless publishing, distribution, and sales.
Yeah,
of
that's
digital
Amy's
content.
video
Think
of
of it like Spotify
Alexandria.
or YouTube, but without
It's like I'm watching
servers,
TV
ads,
while
or
watching
censorship.
TV.
What HTTP and the web
It's,
browser
I mean,
did with
Decentraland is still in beta.
information,
It's very
Alexandria
early,
is doing it for
but
the
I have a feeling that these
publishing,
3D
distribution, and
metaverses
sales
and
of
3D
digital
spaces
content.
are
Digital
going to
distribution
play a
is
really big
huge
part
market.
in our
In
future,
2013,
and it's
its
accelerating
revenues were
now, this trend, because of
$600 billion,
the current
and
climate.
It's projected to grow to almost $1 trillion by 2018.
So I think if we build now, we can get a really good head start on what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, what I really want to do with this is to have like an automated publisher, maybe through Streambed or some similar technology, where someone can publish into Streambed, and everything that gets put onto OIP just keeps like building up into this tower. So imagine that you have each content creator has their own wing, and like as they create more content, like the tower stacks up and up and up. I don't know how far up you can build in Decentraland, but I'm assuming it's infinite because it's just a game. And
I
basically,
have
I know there's a limit on how many polygons you can add in one like specific
oh, I see.
diameter of whatever. So
In like an XY plane, you can only have so many polygons, so you can't build
Yeah, and I
infinitely
think-
upwards.
I
Interesting.
think the more parcels you connect to make an estate, you can build higher with more parcels. But there's bigger land available. If this actually becomes a thing and popular, we could always expand and get more space. I feel like these digital realms, like our physical world, is going to translate really well into these digital realms, and we're going to see a lot of our legacy physical spaces, like offices, schools, even shopping centers. I think they're all going to be translated into these digital realms, because the amount of capital and energy and time you can spend with reducing a physical footprint of office space and shopping space. Why does Walmart need 1,500 locations when they can have one virtual location and be reached by everyone in the world?
Yeah, definitely.
and I think in a very similar fashion, Amazon's already, between that virtual world and the physical world, where everyone at this point essentially just buys all their products off Amazon and then has it shipped to them. So the next step obviously would be like a VR integration, which I think Decentraland has already started working on. And I think what would be really cool is if you could have like 3D objects that resemble the real thing. In VR, you sort of like play around with them, see what they can do. And if you like it, you can just sort of like click a button and buy it, and it could ship to you.
Yeah, that's going to come. So 3D virtual Amazon, it's 100% going to come. So why not a 3D virtual YouTube, where we can walk in and feature our own content and monetize our own content and view others' content?
Yeah, I like this idea a lot. I mean, I already do most of my shopping online, especially these days. So, yeah, why wouldn't I do it in a 3D world where I can see the 3D version of the product, not just like the photoshopped 2D version? So this is
just
this
make
is cool.
So we'll see how many people want to contribute and get on board and get excited about this, and maybe we can just keep building on it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Let's see what Amy has to say. She's on the wall.
It's an industry in crisis. Artists are unhappy because they're not being fairly paid. Audiences are stealing content because they can't access it. And the whole industry is struggling financially because of its inefficient and expensive structure. By using blockchain technology, Alexandria solves these problems. The heart of Alexandria is an open source protocol that uses Bitcoin for payments, a blockchain to store and protect the content index, and a peer-to-peer network to store and distribute the content. Artists who use Alexandria will make 7 to 8 times what they're currently being paid by Spotify or Apple Music, and audiences will save 50%. And the quality is spectacular. Alexandria can easily handle 4K video and lossless FLAC audio. We're excited to announce that you can publish to Alexandria from any web browser and that it's as easy as uploading to YouTube. By using decentralized blockchain technology, Alexandria is a generational leap forward. It's better, it's faster, and it's cheaper. Check it out at alexandria.io.
Cool. Or check it out on Decentraland, I guess. It's pretty awesome.
We can have events in there as well. They're doing quite a few events for different crypto projects. So even chats like this, we can meet with our avatars and have meetings on the rooftop.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea, right? Like, if we can get a bunch of content creators to build a bunch of their wings in Decentraland, and then Decentraland has an event where people come and check it out, we can talk about what we're doing. We can even play this video and tell them what's going on. And it's just a way for them to get introduced to what we've been up to for the past 7 years.
Yeah, you can explore in there. There's actually a lot going on. There's a whole district called Crypto Valley. There's a university district. There's a porn district. There's a gambling district. So they're
Cool.
They're thinking of everything.
Well, I'll get kicked off Twitch if I go there, but we'll stay here for now.
I don't think there's any live. There's some gambling games, but I don't think there's anything racy going on in there yet.
Oh, cool. Can
But
I
it's
use the
coming.
elevator? Does this work?
The elevators work. Go to the roof.
Oh my god, it does work. Well, I clicked on 2. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm falling. Okay, let's just go to the roof. What is it, 8?
Yeah, the last number that you'll find.
I think I broke it. Let's see.
So Bradley, do you know how many people are not building but actually like using this game right now for like entertainment?
It's just so early. It's before any kind of mainstream adoption picks up. We're gonna have to do a lot of building. There's a lot of NFT digital artwork going on in there. People are building galleries, and there's some really cool artwork being featured and sold. And there are some games where you can go in and play games, but it's still very basic. So the team is still adding a lot of functionality to it. You know, they're going to take it out of browser so you can just open it on its own. They're going to add VR functionality to it. And then I kind of see it as being the future of social media, where we're not going to log on to Facebook and just like posting on each other's walls. We're going to be able to jump in and meet in a virtual cafe and sit down and look at our avatar friends and
Yeah.
run around and play games or, you know, talk business. I see a lot of translation from the physical world into the digital realms.
I know that a lot of places like VR chat are already doing like yoga classes. Certain people are like teaching math classes and all this kind of stuff. You know, especially for people that aren't as mobile as other people. You know, they might be disabled or something. There's a whole community behind it already, for sure.
Yeah. And then like I lived in China for a while, and in China, like their digital infrastructure is so well built out that someone could they can just go on their phone and order a cup of noodles or a bowl of noodles, and it'll come to their house probably in 15 minutes. So imagine if you in Decentraland, you're just strolling around playing games. You stop into a noodle shop, you click a button, you order your noodles, and they actually show up at your door.
It'd be insane. Wow.
Yeah, I can't see why it wouldn't happen, because this is all happening on 2D screens now. So why wouldn't we just build it out in a more dynamic and like immersive experience?
Yeah, Bradley, I can't get onto the roof, unfortunately. Only lets me go up so far, but it's pretty cool, man. It's great.
Maybe someone, I might have someone building up there. I'll check and see if they
Maybe I can walk on top of this.
closed off the roof.
This is pretty great. thanks for putting this together. It's really cool, and I hope we can build it. Oh god, hope we can build it into something awesome.
Yeah, me too.
All right, that's the real Alexandria in 2020. Great. Cool. I mean, those are all the topics that really we had to talk about, other than just basic like potential applications for Flow. Maybe we could talk about that a little bit before we hop off. One thing that I've been working on is kind of like thinking about a decentralized microblogging platform, which I call Bird App. So I know Davi was interested in this, but basically, part of the history of Flow is that the first application that was envisioned for Flow by the creator SkyAngel was a Twitter app, and this is kind of like a fun fact about Flow, some trivia. You know, in Bitcoin, the first block has the times chancellors on brink of bailout for banks, or second bailout for banks, right? And that's kind of like a jab at the legacy financial system. For Flow, the first block actually has a message in it that says something about Saudi Arabia banning WhatsApp and Skype. So I think, you know, that kind of hints as to why Flow was created. It's supposed to be made for messaging and to combat censorship of communications, which is, you know, analogous to Bitcoin's creation for censorship of financial transactions. So in that sense, it's kind of weird, right, that no one's created a Twitter or something that lives on Flow, even though it might be relatively easy. So that's something that I've been working on. I kind of want to bring that into the world. Now that we have something called HDMW, this is like a BIP44 wallet, so it's based on the hierarchical deterministic algorithm that creates a wallet, but also kind of integrates with all other coins, which is why actually you have Ravencoin here, and you can choose Bitcoin or Litecoin or Raven or Flow. This protocol, BIP44, allows you to take an HD wallet, like a 12-word mnemonic, essentially, and build a multi-currency wallet out of it. So this is like a very simple front end for that interface. But using that same technology, you can create like a user for a social network, for example. So that's something that I want to work on. I don't know if anyone else has any other ideas.
Yeah,
No, I love that idea.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. I think like the future of social media at this point, with all like the censorship, if I can say that word, censorships. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be a push for that kind of stuff. So I can see an application for that. But
I think Google. I think
go ahead.
Google. I was gonna say I think Google is gonna get broken up by the regulators, and Facebook has almost a monopoly as well, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, because they just shouldn't be entitled to do what they're doing. So yeah, I see a dramatic shift coming. We can see the outrage from a lot of the people who are getting censored now, and we're going to start seeing outrage from the regulators and even the politicians that are getting censored. So I think that hammer is going down.
Bob Dylan once said, "The times are changing."
Yeah,
song.
and I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Davey's back.
Yeah, what's up, Davi?
Davi. Hey, Davey's back.
Yeah, what's up, Davi?
Yeah, so like I'm not quite sure why we're complaining so much about Facebook and other folks, to be honest. Like, they are private corporations. They're in a private space with their own servers. So I guess they do whatever they want. Now, what we're building here is actually a true public space on the internet. And that says all it has to say. I mean, it is a space where people can just push it out and actually have a public exposure of their own digital self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's definitely pros and cons to both, and I think at the end of the day, the ideal environment that we could be in a digital space is where it's both public and private, and some sort of a communion between both of them is what I think at the end of the day would work best.
Yeah, I agree. I just think I think people are just starting to wake up to the fact that it's dangerous to let these big companies control our data. So I just think the trend is turning in our favor.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Absolutely. So that's kind of like the idea behind what we're doing with OIP. So Bird app being an OIP app, you should be able to post anything that you want onto the web. It lives in that decentralized index, and then there's no way to censor it. And also, anyone that wants to create a Bird app instance can just download the software and recreate all the posts, all the media from the blockchain. Probably be using IPFS or Skynet to host images and video data, like large blobs of data. But everything that's just like a tweet, 240 characters or less, that's going to be essentially logged in the blockchain, and it should be there forever. So yeah, we've got a lot planned here, and there's a lot that we can do with the protocol and with the philosophy that we have for open information and just making everything as public and truly neutral as possible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I mean, that just about wraps it up, guys. This has been really awesome, and thanks everybody for contributing to everything that we have going on here. If anyone else is in the chat, we got some flow left over. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to send it back to Channing and to TrueDev.
Or we'll find something creative to do with it.
Yeah, got $18.
Saves it for the next.
Good idea. Good idea. I do have the mnemonic written down, so we could do that. All right. Awesome. Everyone that's viewing this, thanks for stopping by. We're gonna upload this video to YouTube, and we'll be back next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Good chat.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
All right, bye, guys.
Good chat. See you guys.